Alrighty, so today we want to talk about the Gaggia Espresso Deluxe, a machine made in Italy and with a PID in its base form as well as its advanced form. Now, to be honest with you, I'm really a little surprised at how much the first video took off that I did on this machine. Apparently people have a lot of interest in it, but I did it in the advanced mode. So today we are going to use 3 different modes. First of all, we are going to do it with the included portafilter and pressurized double basket. Then we're going to use a single basket, this one here with this rubber insert, and we're going to do an E.S.E pod. And then finally, we're going to also pull an espresso in advanced mode. I'm also going to steam milk in both of those modes, and we'll have a look and see what works out better. So I have gained a lot of experience with this machine. The last few weeks I've been experimenting quite a bit with it, and I have to say there's some things that I still quite like about it. There are also some things that have been really majorly frustrating for me. And I'll go over those later. It mostly has to do with advanced mode. Let's just get started and use the machine in basic mode. Now, what I'll normally do is make a double shot with the included pressurized portafilter, and I will do that with this pre-ground espresso that you see here. But people don't seem to like that as much. They prefer for me to grind with a grinder the same bean I'm going to use in advanced mode. So that's what I'll do today. I normally show this because people who are considering a 200 euro machine don't really want to go out and spend another 300 on a grinder right away. So you can use this stuff. It works just fine, but we'll use the beans today that I'm going to use for advanced mode. So let's go ahead and do that. I got my little buddy over here. This is the Sette 30 grinder, and I got it set. It's dialed in at, I believe, 4 for a advanced mode, non-pressurized extraction. We're just gonna move that to, oh, I don't know, 8 or 9 for the pressurized. All right, so the beans that I'm using are these ones right here, Martermühle, and they were roasted about 3 weeks ago. So still nice and fresh. We're gonna do 15 grams in the basket. So here we go. I got this funnel, by the way. This is a very nice aluminum polished funnel from Eureka. This is a 53 millimeter version. It is really nice to use. So here we go. Just kind of shake it in there a little bit. We're just going to use the machine here as you would if you took it out of the box. Now, one thing I do really appreciate about how they've designed the portafilter, and you will see some like this, is that they're totally flat like that. So you can tamp really easily. Excellent. Okay, there we go. Put that sucker in there. And let's see, can I fit a scale underneath? Oh, I think I can. Here we go. Let us pull a shot. Stop it at 30. Okay. So it does keep dripping, as you see there, because it doesn't have a 3-way solenoid, but that doesn't look like too bad of a shot. I mean, it was done in 16 seconds, and you'll kind of get that with the pressurized baskets, but let's see how it tastes. I mean, not bad. It's certainly lacking some depth, certainly lacking some clarity in the flavors. You know, like the distinction between the different flavors in the coffee. It's all right. If that's all you got for 200 bucks, that's fine. Now let's try something else interesting. People sometimes ask me about these guys. So we're gonna put these in, this is an E.S.E pod, in the single basket. So all I gotta do is plop it in there, like so. Put this guy on top, this Gaggia branded rubber thing, and that helps, I think, to keep the pod in place. Now you also do have to wait about a minute before removing the portafilter because there's still pressure on there and it's gonna crap out of there. Let's see, can I do anything else in the meantime? Might as well get my milk ready for when we do a cappuccino coming up next. Again, I like to use really fatty milk. 3.5, 3.8%. That tastes the creamiest, gives me the best texture, and seems to me to be the easiest to steam. All right, let's remove this one time. And that's the puck that you get out at the end. See if you can see that. That is, it kind of like forms a soup inside, because with the pressurized system, you just got one hole in the bottom, you got a bunch of holes on top. So it's just kind of filling it with water, forms a soup, and then eventually the pressure overcomes that hole and comes out. One thing that's been kind of annoying about using this portafilter, by the way, is that the spring inside, and by the way, that's all plastic in there. The spring inside does not hold the basket all that well, so it likes to fall out. Come on. All right, well, forget you then. Now we're gonna put in our single filter here. Make sure we're nice and clean. That's quite a squeeze to get that single basket in there with the E.S.E pod. But I got it in there, so let's give it a shot now and see what it looks like. Okay, just let that one run to about 25 grams or so, about a half a shot, and it did work. As you can see there, got just a little bit of crema on there. It is the pressurized system, of course. And if that's all you got, I mean, that can be convenient for like a vacation house, or if you got an Airbnb or something. I would compare that to an espresso. I mean, there's really not much depth there in flavor. There's very little body. You don't really feel much texture on the tongue. But it's a coffee in the morning. It's okay. Let's go ahead and do some milk steaming now in basic mode. That means with this panarello, and I was wrong in the beginning, the panarello does articulate out a little bit, which is good. Not a lot, but a little. So let's go ahead and move into steam mode. And I do have a complaint about steam mode, which I'm going to tell you when I'm done steaming. Let's dump this in here for cappuccino. All right, so the first complaint I have really is that I don't purge this anymore. I used to purge it, but oftentimes what would happen when purging the steam wand is after I would turn it on and then back off and then turn it on to steam again, it wouldn't actually engage the heating element. So it would be pumping, bump, 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 but it wouldn't actually be heating. So now I don't even bother to purge because that seems to be some kind of software issue. All right, let's go ahead and do some steaming. Something else I like to do, by the way, is weigh out my milk and see how much water does it add while steaming. The less water, the better. All right, here we go. Okay, so the advantage of using a panarello is that it will give you a lot of milk bubbles. It's gonna give you a ton of froth, and already I'm getting too much, to be honest. That is unwieldy. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to use a bigger pitcher. You have a lot more control over the milk when you are using it without the panarello. Let's try again. I didn't even get it warmed up there, so you probably need a bigger pitcher if you're using the panarello because it is gonna add a ton of milk froth. You can hear it. It's getting really frothy again. I don't know. Maybe I'm using it wrong. I'm not really a panarello guy. Let's see, how much did it add? Just 13 grams. So that's not very much water added. That is a good thing. And if you like to have a lot of froth, I mean, you're gonna get a ton of froth here. You could fill up like a travel mug with that. So that's not bad. But you can forget about getting any kind of latte art with that, unless you're Lance Hedrick. I've seen him use a panarello to get milk fine enough for latte art, and I don't know how he did that, to be honest. All right, so try to swirly, swirly, swirly this one time. I mean, it's not so bad. If you pour it in quickly, you might get a little something. No, not really. It's just too much foam. That is too much foam, but that is our cappuccino right there. in basic mode. Now, if you're just buying this machine for $200, and if you're getting yourself some pre-ground espresso like this, you know, that might be just what you're looking for. Just to get a normal kind of cappuccino, no latte art, but hey, 200 bucks, 200 euros, it's kind of hard to go wrong. I mean, the texture's not so bad. I've certainly had worse at cafes before, but it's not very hot. It's actually on the cool side because, for me at least, the milk just froths up too quickly to be able to heat it in time before it actually starts to overflow the pitcher. But I'm sure with practice you can probably do better than that. Now let's go ahead and go into advanced mode because that's a lot more fun. Step 1. Step 2. And step 3. Now we got this bottomless portafilter here. I bought this from E.S.E, and this is where my woes start. When I made the very first video with this machine, I had never tried it before. I just put it in and it actually worked without even dialing it in. And I think what happened was my grind was a little bit too fine, and therefore the shot was slow. It was just it took 40 seconds for the shot to finish, and therefore everything kind of stayed in the middle of the portafilter. But subsequent trials with the E.S.E portafilter and with the included basket showed me really bad capillary action. So what was happening is that the espresso was coming out of all the holes, including on the side here. It was collecting here at the gap between the basket and the edge of the portafilter. So capillary action is what happens when a liquid defies gravity, defies other forces, and goes into a gap in between two surfaces. That was happening really bad. So what I had to do is look in my arsenal and see if I had a different 53mm basket, and it turns out I did. This one has got holes that don't go all the way to the edge, and therefore capillary action is avoided, which is nice. But you cannot use this one with the included basket, in my experience. You're going to need one that's got holes like this. And I also looked on the IMS website. I could not find any 53mm baskets that fit this guy because their edges come out too far. The ones that they make for like La Spaziale and so on come out to 62mm, and this one is only at 60. So therefore it's hard to find baskets that fit this. Luckily, I've got one. That was my first woe. My second woe is that with the included spring, this one here, we were getting just way too much pressure from the brew group coming down on top of the coffee puck, and water was squirting out really bad in between the lip of the basket and the gasket here on the brew group, and that really was super annoying. I was making big messes everywhere in the kitchen. So I switched this out. The good news is the 9-bar mod that is done for the Gaggia Classic Pro can be done in here as well, and it's very simple. I'll release a video on that soon. So those are my biggest woes with this machine. A third really disadvantage is that the included shower screen, it's not very good. It only has holes in the middle. So I'm guessing 50% or less of the surface area actually has holes in it, which forms a crater in the puck. So I do believe that Gaggia really designed this primarily for pressurized extractions and not really for advanced mode. But that's what we're gonna do, is use it in advanced mode. So what do you need? You need, first of all, definitely to buy a 9-bar spring and put it in here. And I'll include a link in the video description so that you can find one. Then you need a portafilter. The only one I found is the E.S.E. The basket that actually fits in here and does not cause that terrible capillary action is from the Solis Perfetta Plus. So yeah, anyway, that's what you need. Enough rambling, let's do some espresso. Oh, and the other thing is that this Normcore 53.3mm disc does not fit inside this Perfetta Plus portafilter basket. It does not. It does fit inside the E.S.E. one, but as I mentioned, that does not work. So can I use that? Let's go ahead and make an extraction. 15.5 grams, what I'm gonna use. Of course, it's nice to have a funnel to put on there and a WD-T tool to distribute the grounds nicely. That's always helpful. And of course, you're going to want a proper tamper as well. So I've got this Normcore 53. I've got this Normcore tamper right here that does fit just barely. So that's nice. You get a nice clean puck, no stuff around the edges. And let's see how this looks. Oh, dang it. I nearly forgot. That is something else that's annoying about this machine with steam mode. It doesn't automatically go back into espresso mode like the DeLonghi Dedica will. It doesn't time out. So what you gotta remember to do is remove the steam mode. Then both of these lights will flash, and then you've got to cool down the thermoblock. That's really the second issue that I have with steaming with this machine. It does not do an automatic cool down and does not remind you that you have to cool it down either. All right, let's go and pull a shot. Looking pretty good. Again, this is with the 9-bar spring installed. With the original spring in there, it would have a lot more pressure. The shot would go faster and it would spray a lot more. So there we've got our 2-to-1 ratio in 29 seconds. So that's actually dialed in pretty nicely. And you can see there's quite a difference there. This is crema that's real. This is crema that has been made due to the pressure of the incoming water on top of the coffee puck. The coffee puck is providing the resistance. It's not the basket that's providing the resistance. And therefore, I'm expecting the taste to be better. Should be richer. It's got a little bit more separation in flavors. For me, it's a more intense shot. It's a deeper shot. It's more balanced. It's got actually good body to it. You can feel the thickness of the crema of the shot on your tongue. It's a pretty good shot. So there's a shot done in advanced mode. Now what we're gonna do is steam some milk. And if you take a look here, I got 2 small pitchers. This is a 400 milliliter pitcher. This is a 350. We can steam in this little baby one and pour it into here. And you have so much control over the texturing in advanced mode that you can use this little guy. Fill it up about halfway. And here we go. Oh yeah, steam mode. Okay. Again, I'm not going to purge because I don't want to put this guy into any troubles with not steaming the milk. Sometimes it really sprays in the beginning, but the texture that you get is nice. That's probably the worst spray I've had so far. Normally, I'm positioned differently in front of the machine. I find it really helps to keep one position with the pitcher. If you can do that, the milk seems to churn better. If you're moving your position, it seems to disrupt your whirlpool that you got going, and you really need that to incorporate the milk. Alrighty, that's plenty hot. Okay, that time I added 37 milliliters of water. That's not great. It would be better if it was more like 20, 25. But there we go. Let's get out of steam mode, and then we can cool down the boiler. Thermoblock. It's already very creamy, if you can tell there. I don't even think I need to transfer it to that pitcher. But this one is so full, I think I'm gonna do it anyway. And again, I don't know why, but I'm very inconsistent with my latte art. If you want to learn really good latte art, see Lance Hedrick's channel or Emily Bryant, or there's other ones out there too. This one's a little wonky. But anyway, as you can tell, it's very creamy anyway. My milk was a bit thin there, that's why I didn't get a nicer design and why it's a bit wonky. But certainly, the milk is going to be tasty. It's going to be creamy. I can tell just by looking at it. It's nice and glossy. Good, sweet cappuccino. Okay, so is it worth it to buy this machine and put it into advanced mode? I'm not so sure. I mean, the 9-bar spring is just like 10 bucks. That's not bad. Getting one of these is like 30 to 35. So you're gonna spend maybe another 50. By the way, I'd like to show you, this is what the puck looks like. It gets a nice crater in there because of that shower screen. So I feel like this machine is limited by several factors. One is the shower screen. One is the fact that there's almost no third-party accessories out there. There's just one bottomless portafilter. There's almost no baskets that you can find. The machine's not even available in the USA, so it's hard to really recommend for that. And the final point is really the selling point, and I think the reason people watch my first video is because it comes with a PID. But I've done some measurements, and we'll do a couple more here. It did not do very well. It was not very temperature stable. So I feel like how they've done the PID, yes, they do have a thermal probe on the exit of the thermoblock, but how they've done it, it does not seem to be implemented very well. But anyway, that's a pretty well extracted shot there. You don't see any gradient in the puck, so that's pretty nice. This video is like super long. The last thing we want to do today is take some temperature measurements and see in both the basic mode and the advanced mode, what does the temperature look like? So let's start with the advanced mode because that's what we're in right now. So it's not the easiest thing to do to measure the temperature. Sometimes I get just a little bit of a leak, but it's small and I don't think it makes a significant difference in the temperature reading. And anyway, this is not a professional tool, this multimeter here, but it should at least give us an idea of what the precision is of this. Not the accuracy, but the precision. So what I do is I just put it on top here so that it's measuring the water between the brew group and the top of the puck. Again, I'm using the 9-bar inside here, 15.5 grams of finely ground coffee, and let's go. $83, $82, $81, $80, $81, $83, $84, $85, $86, $87, $88, $89, $91, $93, $94, $95, and there we have our 2-to-1 ratio, 100 degrees at the end. So as you can see, it really kind of dips down to 80 and slowly comes back up to 100. It's not really holding it at 90, 93 like you might expect. I was hoping at least to see it be steady, even if it was lower, but it's both low and it's not steady. And I've already made a bunch of shots with this machine, so the machine is warmed up. Let's go ahead and prepare a pressurized shot and see if it does better. Here we go with our pressurized shot. $94, $93, $92, $95, $92, $91, $90, oh, $91, $92, $93, $95, and there we are at our 2-to-1 ratio. So it does extract higher and more evenly with the pressurized basket in there. And that's what I found out so far. I've done a number of measurements, and when I'm using pressurized espresso extraction, it keeps it up there above 90 and certainly more steady. When I'm doing the non-pressurized advanced mode, on the other hand, it's not really the case. It really does dip down a fair amount. So take that for what you will. All right, guys, thanks very much for being with me today. If you made it this far into the video, write into the comments #PID. And I'd like to thank you for being with me, for sticking around that long. Thanks so much. Until next time, I say happy espresso drinking. Arrivederci, fiat and bye now.